straight up classified. Whoa!
玉葉様を裏切るような真似はしないでちょうだいね。調べてもらいたいのよ。
Oh, here it is.
私は先の帝に呪いをかけたのかしら。
Hongyang embodies that so well. She's kind, she's gentle, but when she needs to, she's very assertive. Respect. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a licensed psychotherapist and your favorite yapper. Welcome back. What an absolute peak in last week's episode with the freaking doors, color blindness, genetics, deduction, mystery, and Mama getting razor thin close with Jinshi's true background. But her the gray wall of denial is so powerful. I cannot wait to see what we have in today's episode. Assassination Zero, Samsonian, Helixi, Jun Ishimaru, and Roxy Love are the founding sponsors here highlight of all my videos. Thank you so much. And shout out to every single patron family and YouTube members out there. Yes, I'm talking to you. Thank you so much. Sit back and I hope you enjoy. Who's this? Wow. Episode 32, The Empress Dowager, 第32话, Huang Caihou. Huang Caihou means the mother to the emperor. Not just the empress, but a mother to the emperor. So it's a pretty straightforward translation.
今日からここがあなたの部屋よ。物置小屋。本当にここを使えと。
She's excited.
反省なさい。
What did she do? And also, Ma Mao seems stunned and she sounds like she's speechless. That's why Hongyang's like, yes, think about what you did. This is your punishment. But knowing Ma Mao, she's probably ecstatic. Underneath that shock is like, oh my gosh, I get to have all this freedom and maybe I can experiment with different things in storage room in isolation away from everyone else. That's my guess. So this is the subsequent consequences of Yinghua fainting from those little leeches. I am dead, yo.
大丈夫ですか?
Yo.
大丈夫じゃないわよ。
Yo.
そんなものばかり集めて信じられない。そのうち本
Yo.
ちゃうわよ。
And this is one of those days.
それはいいですね。
Told you. That sounds good. She wants maximum privacy so she can go full throttle on her mad scientist identity.
物置小屋なら今の部屋より広いし、夜中に音を。
That's also a very helpful cognitive reframe definition right here. Cognitive reframe, which is a cognitive behavioral therapy technique to reframe your current situation by focusing on and zooming in on the positive qualities. Not necessarily dismissing the negatives, but also spotlighting, because we call that negative bias. Also definition right here. Negative bias. Negative bias is an evolutionary trait because evolutionarily speaking, out of our fear, which is our primary emotion, out of our need and necessity to survive, to pass on the genes per Mother Nature's call, we are more prone to spotlighting the negatives because negatives in our mind symbolizes threats, danger. That's what negative bias is. That's why a lot of the news, headline culture, sensationalism, they always talk about the negative thing, always about breaking news, because they're tapping into that evolutionary trait. Does that make sense? That's why we don't really hear about the good news, because dopamine level is not the same with negative news versus good news. And again, that's our threat instincts. The reason why cognitive reframe works is because when we're under threat or going through a difficult situations, again, per negative bias, we often only think about and we only feel and see the negative side. And we kind of ignore and overlook the positives. Every coin has two sides. Every perspective or every story has two perspectives. Here, by her downgrading to a shed, she's also able to look at the positive qualities. The bigger room, she can make more noises and everything I talked about. That is a cognitive reframe. Yo. Yo. Lin Hua is like, I brought that up as a punishment, Mama. But now she's like, all right, let's go. Let's talk to Hongyang ASAP pronto. Let's tell her what I did to you. How horrible I am. So I can get punished. Oh, Mama. Look at her. Yo.
ありがとうございます。
Yo, called
こ
it.
こに薬草を干して、ここで跳躍をして、ここはあれで、あれはここで、わほー。
So Mama saw her vision of redesigning the interior. That's why she was stunned, because she was actually daydreaming and thinking about, ooh, she was future planning.
だから言ったじゃないですか。意味ないって。物置小屋。
She is unpunishable.
本にゃん様に告げ口するなんて、さすがにひどいんじゃない？
You told on her to Lady Hongyang. I'm pretty sure Mama snitched on herself. She self-snitched.
いいわ。私じゃないわよ。マオマオが自分で本にゃん様に打診したのよ。ねえマオマオ。はい。何かと都合が良かったので。それはそうと、マオマオ、もう虫を集めるのはやめてよね。虫？私が集めているのはトカゲ。
Oh yeah, those are not leeches. Kind of look like leeches, but lizard tails.
ですが。
That's even worse.
インファ様が倒れて以来集めていません。本当に？でも噂になってるわよ。
Oh yeah, that's not Mama is not the insect queen, right? We know who that is, right? Obviously, it's Shisei. Shisei is the insect queen, another fanatic and obsessive about insects, laughing manically.
そんなことはしていません。確かに。
Also, another significance about this, them just hanging out outside of working hours. Again, this is the significance of their close interpersonal relationship. And this is also the reason why I speculated in last episode why she felt comfortable to tell the whole truth about Luomen to that high priest eunuch. Because at the end of the day, with all the experiences she's gone through, she feels safer emotionally, physically, and psychologically. Shout out to all her contribution, but also all the digital flowers to obviously Crown Prince Jinshi, Gao Shan, all the concubine, upper first rank concubines that adore her. And of course, the emperor now, because now Mao Mao is also valued by emperor even more so, especially after the last episode.
これは由々しき事態である。止水ね。あの子寝室
A real phantom.
ねえねえ、誰か止水がどこにいるか知らない？
I love Xiaolan's priorities. She heard Mao Mao's request, finished her bun, and then she went forward, right? Food is life. I respect that priority.
見たような、見てないような。え？ああ、妃好きの次女だから警戒しているのか。シャオランの。
Does this mean Mao Mao is technically higher in terms of the hierarchy versus these ladies in waiting who are court ladies who are washing laundries and stuff?
誰にでも分け隔てなく接する子の方が。
Lizard
こ
tail?
れは
Please,
詳し
please
いお
don't.
話次第ではこれを差し上げるんですけど。
Oh, Jinshi's cloth.
使え血が出ている
Dude, Jinshi's gonna be pissed. Mao Mao. Mao Mao. Don't do this to poor Jinshi. He's gonna throw a fit if he sees another court lady or lady in waiting having his dear silk cloth that he bestowed upon you. Come on, Mao Mao. Oh, man. They could smell Jinshi from this?
お任せします。
Oh my goodness.
お話を聞かせていただけますか？市だと北の雑木林によくいるそうだけど。
It's always about the
確
north
か前
side.
にもこの辺であったな。お気に入りの場所なんだろうか。お白い花。こんなところにあったのか。義女たちとお白い花の種を取りに行ったんだよな。中の粉をおしろいとして使うためじゃなくて堕胎剤を作るために。
Continuation of that plot.
何も玉葉様だけが皇帝の寵愛を受けているわけではない。
Yep, that's what it seems like it.
だが、あの一見の違和感はそれだけじゃない。
Right, the true mystery is who has this level of high level knowledge and insider knowledge to disseminate the information and share these with all these puppeteers. Because Lady Shin, sure, she's a culprit of trying to replace Lady Li Hua's place, but she did not come with that knowledge. It is not her knowledge. It was instilled and given and provided by someone else. That obviously we've been speculating is Sui Rui, the only other person that matches Mao Mao's intelligence, audacity, and apothecary knowledge based on the morning glories alone from that hill. Will Mao Mao make that connection again? Because she kind of speculated, right?
下女たちの作る堕胎剤には
It's very complex.
水銀などを使う。水銀はともかく他は高級内でも手に入るものだ。
Yeah, and who planted a bunch of these? Sui Rui, right? I think she acknowledged she was planting a lot of these herbs last season as well.
高級の中にあるのに、シンは堕胎剤の材料をキャラバンが持ち込んだもので揃えていた。
That's right. Sui Rui, baby.
その人物はまだ高級内に。
Is this foreshadowing and hinting at the possibility of Sui Rui secretly snuck back into the royal palace after faking her own death through this coma-induced medicine she created? But it makes sense because she is, obviously we know Sui Rui is a master of camouflage. She's camouflaged with a bunch of different characters, personnels. So it is plausible. And if she has the knowledge to make such a potent and insidious drug through complex different combination, I'm sure it's very easy for Sui Rui to also create some sort of makeup and different disguise for herself. Yo. Also, does Shishay not work? She's always engaging in her hobby and passion project of catching insects. How rude. Crickets. Shishay did not even see Mao Mao until just now, until a physical contact. Again, now this is officially confirmed. Shishay's love and obsession towards insects is the same level as Mao Mao with apothecaries, drugs, and saving lives. Equally matched. They enter this hyper tunnel vision, everything else just melts away. Respect.
別にその虫を捕まえようとしたの？うん。相当虫が好きなんだな。
Yeah. Oh. She's so happy. Here comes information dump. Oh. Ooh la la. Ooh, Phoenix.
あれは確か皇太后様。主上の母親と。
Oh, so in the beginning, that wasn't a flashback. That's currently, she is still alive and she's still the Huang Tai Ho, the emperor's mother.
思えない。
Yeah, she ages well.
なんで隠れるの？
What's her skincare regimen? Money?
女官たちがやってる非公式の診療所なんだけど、
それは知ってる。
Yeah, she's been
あ
there.
れ皇太后様が作る。
Oh, respect. Okay.
公には作れなかったらしいけど。
へえ、そうなんだ。
Oh, and this is the same empress that had that disdain look while she was bowing down to the former empress, right? The mother of the former emperor. Yeah, she hasn't aged. Although Jean, she literally grew up and got taller and older and bigger. Yeah, she literally hasn't aged, but it's the same empress. Wow, okay. I'm just speaking out loud.
優しい方なんだよね、皇太后様は。それに宦官や奴隷の制度が禁止になったのも皇太后様の口添えがあったんだって。
Hmm.
"自分の身を担保に借金をする場合、雇用に近い合法として扱われる。ただ、傍から見れば妓女も奴隷に見えないこともない。
No freedom.
ババアも廃止が決まった時はだが、名前を変えて今も存在している。
Wow, 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 wow. I love this sociological commentary. And this is the same case even in 2026. This is not a fun fact, but the fact remains. Did you guys know that the amount of modern slavery in Africa, in the Middle East, and many, many regions of the world is actually at an all-time high, despite slavery being banned many, many, many years ago. Same shit, different toilet. That's corruption, power of capitalism. It has this very just exceptional ability in the worst way to package and repackage the same root cause under a different disguise, different facade.
周知の事実だ。
Yes.
さてと、私そろそろ帰らないと。マウマウもあんまり道草食ってると怒られるんじゃない？
皇太后様が診療所に向かっているのは先日の水晶宮の一件と何か関係があるのだろうか。
Interesting.
皇太后様が乗り出すなら高級の医療体制に改革が起こるかもしれない。そんな話ならぜひ聞きたいが。
You see that? So that imagery of Mao Mao is the imagery of what Mao Mao was thinking about is also very significant. She went from a loner to now she has numerous voices of reasoning in her mind, cautioning her against her impulsivity, her impulsive decisions based on her curiosity. Because sometimes she just cannot help herself because her curiosity is her superpower. At the same time, it could also be a legitimate risk factor. That's why she was like, ooh, should I listen in? And all those voices of reasoning, which is her colleagues and friends. That is the significance of that imagery. Again, all of this represents Mao Mao's deepening relationship and deepening safety and deepening closeness in the royal palace. So lovely to see.
最近怒らせてばかりだからな。
やり直し。
True?
3度目だ。とうとういびりが始まったのかと思ったが。
甘いわよ。はい。そこ。誇り一つ残さないでね。
なんだ、誰か来るのか。
Is the Empress coming? Yep. Of course.
お久しぶりです。安氏様。
皇太后様だった。皇太后様は玉葉様の親をご存知なのか。
So she's
それだ
trusted?
け信頼されてるってことか。
Aww. Grandma Aishi.
こんな雰囲気だな。
あなた、確か人氏のもとより手配された次女よね。
はい。なぜ知ってる？
睡蓮から聞いたの。しごきがいのある子が後宮に戻ったって。睡蓮は昔私の次女をしていたのよ。
なるほど。あの食えない次女と皇太后は
I haven't seen her. She hasn't gotten any camera appearance since season 1. Again, why is that? What is she up to?
安氏様、申し訳ありません。寝かしつけてきてもよろしい
See?
でしょ
The
うか。
social cues.
いいわ。
Wow, again, man, they're so astute. They're talking without talking explicitly. And it's clear that Empress Ainshi wants some private space and alone time to talk to Mama about something. Oh, what is this
察
ominous
しのい
vibe?
い子ね。
Yup.
本当に。
Very, very good.
さあ、そこにおかけなさい。
はい。
Yo, the fact that it's like golden hour, sun setting, all this red color vibe makes me a little bit nervous.
いろいろな問題ごとを解決しているそうね。
She sounds really gentle.
私は自分が持っている
Good answer. Very political.
しかし突飛な想像力もなければ親父のような博識さもない。前もって言っておかないと落ち着かないし。
Yeah, because I wonder, you remember that lady in waiting that was behind Empress Ainshi? She frowns because maybe they expected her to say, oh yeah, of course, what do you need? But Mama kind of deflected what the Empress is saying, which could be perceived extremely rude and offensive. Because when the Empress speaks to you, a lowly lady in waiting, you just submit. You oblige with whatever she says. You become a yes man, yes woman. That leads to another concept, acquired narcissism. That French right here. Acquired narcissism. I know, again, plenty of people have been asking me to react to Oshinoko about the Japanese entertainment because obviously I live in LA, the mecca of Hollywood entertainment and corruption, let's be honest. Acquired narcissism is exactly that. So many celebrities, actors, singers, whoever, just public figures with fame and wealth, they're surrounded by yes men and yes women because of their prestige, wealth, and whatever. And over time, psychologists denoted this phenomenon of many people, many celebrities rather, they picked up on this acquired narcissism or narcissistic tendencies. Because when you're surrounded by everyone who only say yes to you, who never refute you, who never rebuke you, who never call you out on your BS, you feel like a god. You become extremely self-centered. Only thing you care about self-gratification. Your entire reality becomes me, 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 and me. And a lot of that is environmental. That's the acquired narcissism. But here, Mama was like, she's being very honest and very humble because she knows her place and she's very self-aware. But politically, that may come off as, again, rude, offensive, and deflective. Especially talking to the Empress.
それが心情だから仕方ない。
それでもいいわ。
All right, here comes the request. Let's hear it.
わかる範囲でいいの。調べてもらいたいのよ。
Oh, here it is.
私は先の帝に呪いをかけたのかしら。
That's my first full body goosebumps this episode. Did I put a curse on the late emperor? Obviously, we know this show is not about voodooism or curses, right? So obviously there's a deeper meaning. But what does this mean? Is this related to that flashback from Jinshi's stress dream about her disdainful look that I also talked about earlier in the episode towards the former empress, former mother to the emperor, the former Huang Taiho? Interesting. What does this mean? I have no idea. What's Mao Mao doing?
呪いか。
Oh, she's looking.
そんな風に思っても仕方ないのかもしれない。先の帝につ
One more comment. Mao, as I commented last episode, Mao truly is not the epicenter of the most powerful political arena. She's at the epicenter of power and politics. Hanging out with the emperor last episode and now requested by the empress herself. Yo. And I guess this also speaks to Mao Mao's reputation and competency truly has spread wide and far within the palace and royal palace. And I guess this also speaks to closeness between the emperor and the empress. The fact that the emperor is a Mingjing, a good conscientious emperor, does suggest through proxy that the empress is also kind because it's all about parenting. But again, with the writer's misdirection, we'll see if that's the case. We'll see if the empress is part of the alliance with the emperor, aside from the royal blood and all that, or is she like a secret hidden villain? But so far, I'm leaning more against the former. I think she is one of the good ones.
って正直いい話は聞いたことがない。
Yeah.
具体バカ殿。取り
Pedophile.
込ん
Yeah.
だろうか。政略結婚や
So there is another possibility to the late emperor's pedophilia because we kind of I've noticed some developmentally stunt nature of the late emperor even from Jinshi's flashback last episode. So if that is the case, that means the emperor either has some sort of intellectual disability or developmental disabilities, and his age and his actual mental health and insights and maturity, they're incongruent. If that's the case, then the late emperor, despite his old age and being of a legal adult, emotionally and mentally, he might be of a child. If that's the case, him going after younger girls, underage girls, yes, it's still legally pedophilia and it's still horrible. But if you look at it through developmental psychology and developmentally, I don't know what's the word. It's not more appropriate, but I guess it is more understandable. Not excusable, but more understandable. Viewing strictly through the clinical lens and the developmental lens. Does that make sense? So that's also a possibility. But all of that is only valid if the late emperor indeed were struggling with intellectual disability and developmental disability.
借金の方に幼い妻をめとること。娘にばかり手を出していた。皇太后様の腹には傷がある。今の帝を出産される際、まだ体が育ち。
Jeez.
そして。
Oh yeah, that was Lawman.
出産を手伝うためにわざわざ宦官にさせられたのが不幸な我が親父ルオーメンだ。そんな犠牲を払ったためか。王帝を出産した。王帝の出産。
If I remember correctly, the brother is a year older, aka Jinshi, baby. It's like Mama comes so close to the truth, but it's almost like she takes a sharp left turn. She takes a break and nah.
した時の皇太后様はみそじまえ。とうに少女と。選定の子なのか。こんなこと口にしたらうち。
That's the truth. That's what Jinshi's loneliness was last episode in the creator position, the stress streams and all that analyzed, right? But again, Mama was getting so razor thin closely to the truth, even as I said out loud in the introduction. But at the last minute, she's like, not my business. I don't want to get my head chopped off.
首にされかねない。
That is true. She runs back in for safety.
数日後、皇太后様が茶会という形。
Wow.
様、こちらへ。まだ時間がありますので、お休みになってください。
ええ、そうさせてもらうわ。
やりやすい症状が続いている。 皇太后様どういうおつもりかしら。高級の外でお茶会だなんて。
高級の外と言ってもない。
お様が妊娠してるのは皇太后様もご存知なのに、どうして今。
確かにね。その辺は配慮してくださると思うけど。
皇太后様。
Oh, I see. They're concerned about so many other watchful eyes that could be looming in the shadow around because they don't know who's listening or who's watching. That's what that means also. Also, again, this speaks to how amazing Hongyang is and Lady Gyokyu is, and we've known that. But still, for all these ladies in waiting to feel comfortable and safe, to not gossip but talk about their opinions out loud about the Empress, that takes balls. But more importantly, this is the established psychological and emotional safety. Just like with our parents or authority figures or leaders, we can only feel safe and comfortable to either talk back or maybe even speak our opinions out loud, only if there's an established safety. Otherwise, you don't feel safe to speak your minds. You don't feel safe to self-advocate. So all of this represents how amazing and cohesive and safe Jade Pavilion is.
どうかわからないじゃない。玉葉様の妊娠はただ、リファ妃はあえて自分に飛び火するような質問はしないだろう。それに、もともと気ぐらいの高いリファ妃は相手を貶めることはしない。玉葉様として賢い選択ではない。
And I think Mama was talking about those two ladies first, Li Hua and Gyokyu, because of their encounter with the lead poisoning in episode 1 of last season. But I think that's why she's talking about them first, and she knows them the most. She knows them the best. And she's treasured and valued by those two ladies the most as well.
リーシュ妃が言うとすれば、次女にそそのかされた場合。
I hope she's in a better place. Yeah, for sure.
あるとすれば。
マオマオ、ちょっといい？
はい、何でしょうか。
今日の毒味は私がするわ。そういう流れってわかるわね。
What
わ
does
かり
that
ま
mean?
した。
Huh?
皇太后様が用意した席では毒味役をつけないということで、信頼していることを示す
I
って
see.
こと
Okay.
か。
All politics,
そ
man.
れであなただけど皇太后様が手伝いに貸してほしいそうよ。また何か問題を持ち込まれているの？
Yup. Hongyang knows.
私は先の帝に呪いを
Oh,
かけ
she
たの
can.
か
She
しら。
cannot share this with
できれ
anyone.
ばもっと違う場所で話をしたいわ。
Yeah, she can't share
別
this
に
with
いいわ。
anyone.
どうせ言えないことでしょうから。
Straight up classified. Whoa.
玉葉様を裏切るような真似はしないでちょうだいね。
Yo, see, Hongyang at the end of the day, despite being a nice manager, obviously cares and adores for Mao Mao. At the end of the day, Lady Hongyang's allegiance lies with Lady Gyokyu. And here's the significance. Here's the underlying sentiment of why Hongyang is saying this to Mao Mao. This is not because Hongyang distrusts Mao Mao. This is not because Hongyang views Mao Mao in a certain negative light, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna hop the fence. It's because Hongyang understands the brutality of being a lowly lady in waiting like Mao Mao, facing someone of the utmost power position like the Empress Ainshi. Because Hongyang understands if push comes to shove, if the Empress Ainshi made a request to betray Lady Gyokyu to threaten Mao Mao's life or even her family's life, because she has the power to do so, Mao Mao may have no choice but to do what the Empress asks of her. She has no choice but to oblige out of her threat for her life and others that she cares about. Hongyang understands that because, again, Royal Palace is a straight up political arena with gladiators. But instead of fighting with swords and armor, they're fighting with tongue and psychological tactics and politics. That's what Hongyang's saying. That, hey, I hope you don't betray Lady Gyokyu despite and in spite of all the possible consequences. And Mama understands.
気に回したくはありません。
Look at those sharp eyes.
ならいいわ。私もマオマオとはいい関係でいたいもの。
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
そうですね。本ニャン様、やはり玉葉様の
For
事情
sure.
が知らなだけある。
Respect. Remember, Hongyang is kind but assertive. And I work with a lot of female clients, specifically working to increase their assertiveness, how to be more diplomatic, and how to ask for what they want without being a pushover. Assertiveness is a trainable skill set. And many of my female clients, they suffer at their workplace because they're doing really well, but they're afraid of asking for performance, right? All these different factors. So part of what I deal with some of my clients, female clients, if that's their goals, right? Based on what they come to see me for, I will help them to train their assertiveness, how to communicate diplomatically without coming off as whatever that they're afraid about. Hongyang embodies that so well. She's kind, she's gentle, but when she needs to, she's very assertive. Respect.
皇太后様の用事といったら呪いの剣だよな。
今の高級ができる前はここが高級として機能していました。
Dude, the palace is so big.
人の気配はないが、塵一つないほど掃除は行き届いている。
Good observation. That's Mao Mao's situational awareness definition right here. Again, that's a depiction of Mao Mao's hypervigilance, especially when she's in a new environment, out of fear for her safety and a reflection of her trauma growing up.
枯山水の玉砂利も綺麗に履かれてるな。
先へは入れません。この先は掃除のものも入室を許可されておりませんので。
Wow, true secret behind the door meeting. Whoa, what is this weird ass paintbrush in the floor?
た方が住んでいた場所です。女帝と呼ばれた方の部屋であり、選定が育まれた場所でもあり、見まかられた場所でもあります。
What is this smell? Interesting. Is that like a smell of death? Or, you know, when you go to like a senior living or some like a hospice setting, there is a specific smell You know what I'm talking about? Maybe not, but yeah, there's a specific scent associated with like hospice settings or in some of the senior living based on the conditions and all that. Maybe it's that smell. 'Cause I don't want to say it's a smell of death. You know what I mean? All right, one more thing. So maybe it's not the sense of what I talked about, but rather it's a sense of some sort of a poisoning, specific sense that's like a combination of some sorts, which is an ongoing through line, right? Since season 1 and now season 2, seemingly harmless ingredients mashed in a specific combination with this insider knowledge, they can turn into a potent poison. Maybe it's a sense of some sort of that sort. And that is the true culprit and responsible of late emperor's passing, not a curse. Because again, I don't think voodooism is a thing in this show. Oh, ominous
先
music.
帝と女帝と呼ばれた母君はあの部屋にこもることが多くなりました。思い出にすがるように入り浸り、先帝は気が弱っていたのか、女帝の死後後を追うように。だと言ってもいいお年でした。
ではなぜ皇太后様は呪いだと？
Quick thing. So think about how suspicious it is and the seemingly coincidental order of death. The empress died and the emperor died shortly after. Sure, on the surface, it's plausible that he died due to the weakened spirit, or in medical term, we actually call it the heartbroken syndrome. Definition right here, heartbroken syndrome. That's when your heart literally enlarged out of stress, almost looks like an octopus. And so some people even call it like a heart octopus syndrome, right? Your heart enlarges out of tremendous distress and stress, and it inflates, and you end up having a heart attack and you die. This happens to a lot of widows who lose their spouses and they die shortly after, especially when they're of age, and loneliness and shock and all that. So that is legitimately a thing. So yes, on level 1, on the surface, that could be possible. But knowing the show, it's always something deeper beyond the surface. So again, why did the emperor die shortly after the death of empress? Did the empress do something to also take him with her out of maybe twisted sense of control, maybe in a very twisted way, thinking that the emperor wouldn't be able to survive without her due to the suspected intellectual or developmental disability? Many, many possibilities.
呪いなどないと私も申し上げました。しかし安心。
毎夜のごとく思っていたわ。
何か呪いがかかったという根拠はあるのですか？
Do you see that? Even the way they described the emperor's death, she never once said the emperor died. She said it, the lady in waiting, presumably the head lady in waiting of Empress Anxi. She's like, when the late emperor's spirit left his body, do you know why? It is extremely offensive and unacceptable to describe the emperor's death as death, because the emperor is viewed as the heavens, the ruler of the lands based on the will of the heavens. In other words, the emperors are perceived as like a man god almost. They're not just a man, they're man god. That's why traditionally and historically in the dynasty era, Chinese, Japanese, or Korean, people, they don't look up, they cannot look at the emperor's face directly, because how dare a man stare at a god's face with his full glory. That's why even the descriptions of his death is like his spirits left his body. Obviously it's a euphemism, but that speaks to how people historically viewed the emperor as an entity.
翌年、主上と安子様は先帝を埋葬するたのです。
What? A year after?
つまり腐ってなかったということですか？
ええ、同時期に亡くなられた女帝はとても口には出せないお姿になっていたというのに。
が先帝に呪いをかけたと。
I mean, there's many preservation techniques that could delay the decay of a physical body, even after death. probably the most, again, I'm not a freaking morgue expert, right? But in my minds, in my limited understanding and knowledge, the most obvious way is obviously they can sort of sort out the organs and do some surgical removal and to really make sure their body stays the same after the fact with makeup and all that. That's probably the most obvious preservation technique. But I wonder if something else is, I'm sure there's something deeper going on. But it's definitely not a curse.
はい。
なるほどね。霊病は夏でも涼しいが、遺体は氷漬けにでもしない限り、放置すれば腐って虫が湧き、干からびる。そうならなかったというのは。人々も農民も同じだ。
Oh, I love the philosophical undertone. Death is the ultimate liberator and equalizer of everyone. The rich, the poor, advantaged, disadvantaged, everyone. Death is the ultimate equalizer and liberator.
立場が違っても、
Yep.
それだけは平等なのだ。
もうのです。
わかりました。ただし、一つお願いがあります。
Wow, I love the pressure cooker of limitation with time. There's a specific timeline. The deadline is imminent because they're going to tear down that place soon. So this is a pressure cooker situation. Fascinating. Imagine Mamao's exceptional and impressive ability when there's no time as a pressure cooker. And now when there is a limiting time factor, let's see how even more impressive Mama will be. Fascinating. That's it for this week, guys. So many things happened in this episode, but also not really. But when you reveal what's behind the curtain, when you dig a little bit deeper beyond the surface, I feel like there's so many things happening. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, remember, you are worthy, you matter, and hope to see you again in next week's episode. Until then, peace.